He's the head of a marching band that's 40 years old this year, and he's one example of the life-changing impact of its work. Hear his story and those of others in this edition of Profile. My guest is Milton Wong. I'm Archibald Gordon. Milton Wong, welcome to Profile.
It's a pleasure being here.
You're the head of the Magnificent Troopers Drum Corps, which is a marching band that's 40 years old this year, based at the Police Academy in Twickenham Park, St. Catherine, but has developed a reputation also globally because of appearances in movies like Sprinter. And you've also been in music videos for some artists like Beenie Man, and we'll get to some of that a little later on in the program. But how did the band come about? Let's start there.
Okay, there was a set of persons in a marching band in Spanish Town that was Brazen Marching Band, and that is by Keep to Left in the old capital. That's
close to Mothers for those of us who are from Spanish Town.
Yes, it is. All right, at the time they wanted to move further with the marching band. But at the time, the leader that they had, he was not going that direction. So they all decided to leave. I think it was about 8 of them at the time. So they went up by Police Academy, where they met with Corporal Thomas at the time. He was a corporal at the time.
This is Lloyd Thomas.
Lloyd Thomas, right. And they asked him to be the head one at the time. But he refused. But over a period of time, he has changed his mind, and the rest was history from there.
And you have a history that involves a marching band as well. You've been director now for a couple of years. You've been involved in the band for 27 years.
Yes, I am.
And that started out in high school, Jonathan Grant High School.
Jonathan Grant High School.
You followed a friend?
Yes. His name was Kirk Barnes, and that was in grade 7. I had no idea that I wanted to be in marching band, or even know what a marching band was, but he would come to school with a pair of drumsticks. We would play, every chance he would play some form of beats and something like that. And he would always try to get me involved in that. But it was a no for me. But after a period of time as well, I would use my pen to follow up with whatever beat he had. Then I'd start to get, the whole... So I asked him to bring me up by Magnificent Troopers, and that was up by Police Academy.
And that, you've said, was a sort of life-changing experience.
In every single way. In every single way. My first time meeting with Mr. Thomas, when he asked me what was my name, I started to look down. And he would talk to me in a rough voice that I started to tremble, because he was a drill instructor at the time. So he told me to brace up, look smart, look him in the eyes. And I had to start it all over again. I said, my name is Milton Wong. I am from Taspen, Spanish Town. And it went on from there, where he gave me a test, a reading test, and basically like a general question in terms of question. And from there, I started.
And part of the reason this was life-changing as well was related to, as you pointed out, where you're from, Taspen. Your experience of the police was completely different from what you would eventually encounter at Twickenham Park.
Yes, growing in the ghetto at the time, even right now, you would hear the guys on the corner saying that police, they are no good, they're going to kill you. That's the first thing, they're going to set you up, kill you and stuff like that. So, we as youth grow up amongst them, we have that inside of it. We hear that, in our mind every day. But when I went to Police Academy, it was a different picture for us, because we realized that these police, they were normal person like us. They were like fathers, brothers, sisters to us. They got an extra mile to keep us in school, give us education, give us a future, and help us to be more successful in life, and show that growing up in the ghetto is not the only solution in terms of leaving from school, sitting on the corner, and that would be it. Them give us a whole different future in terms of, direction to go.
And this was something that was completely different from what you were seeing in your community at the time. In Tospen, this would have been in the 1970s you were growing up.
Yes.
And your mother and stepfather, as your primary caregivers, decided that they didn't want you on the streets.
No, a matter of fact, the only place I could go is shop. And if I even tried to go outside, it would be peer beating, peer beating everywhere. So we grew up basically inside, and even to this day, I'm a person that goes to work or to band and then back in. Yes.
So you had a completely different experience than having, first of all, being very, very shy.
But
not being able to relate to different people.
Yes.
Because like many of us, you had been, grown up or socialized within the housing structure, within your house, within the home itself.
Exactly.
To ensure that you didn't get into trouble and to protect you from what was happening in the community. What was happening that you needed protecting from?
All right. But then there was a lot of shooting. There was a lot of shooting. That was the main thing. A lot of shooting, a lot of war between citizens. So the best place to be safe was to stay inside at that time growing up. 24/7 you would hear gunshots. Every second there would be shooting. So the best place was to be inside or find a youth group, and that was constructive towards your life.
So how did that experience sort of turn you around from the perspective of, someone who was really, really shy? How did that help you?
All right, there's a lot of ways. For example, in the marching band, we would meet with the commandant, and he would ask you to make speeches in terms of to the band members, and they would have you standing in front of all the officers, from inspectors, sergeants, and then you had to hold your composure. You have to hold your head up, take deep breath, and just, let it all out.
Wasn't this intimidating, though? You're young and seeing all of these.
Of course, because I'm not used to that in Tasman. I'm not used to that growing up. It would be, go to school, back in. I don't have nobody to talk to. If I go talk to my mother and she say anything, I'm going to like more long maid, and that's it. But it was a different experience up by Police Academy. You could not look down. You have to look up, you have to stand direct, and it has to be sir, miss, ma'am, and you pronounce your words properly. If not, they will tell you to start again. So over a period of time, it just becomes natural. It just becomes natural.
So they were coaching you and coaxing you as well. I imagine there would have been students or persons who were, just unable to present in front of an audience. So how did they get you to be able to do that if you were, particularly shy?
It's not overnight, I can tell you that for one. It's not overnight. First, they would start by tell you, they would write a topic on a paper and tell you to hold that paper in hand and put about 5 of us to stand in front of the whole marching band and officers as well. You get 1 minute to look on that topic, and the topic would be about school, it would be about books, and then they'd say, all right, look on the topic, you have 1 minute, go. Of course, for about 4 ago, yeah, man, I have to go back, go sit down, man. Take deep breath, go drink water, go outside. But, after a 2 weeks period, it becomes natural. Where, just like I'm speaking to you now, it just becomes very natural. And then you're there for years, and then you continue meeting with different persons that it is a must that you change and stand tall. So it just becomes natural. So
I want to talk a little bit about the impact, not just on you, but some of the other members of the marching band and what you've seen having moved as a general member to actually being in the leadership of the band.
Okay.
So that is where we're headed when Profile continues after the break. Stick around, folks.